Hello there. Welcome to the archive. This is, it feels weird for me to actually do something public. Scares me a bit. It probably doesn't mean anything. Will probably be left alone as always. But yes, today, let me just get it. Oh no, wait, I should have gotten batteries. Fuck. Damn it, where are the batteries? There, okay. Too long, too far. But yes, we're gonna continue on this. We're not gonna modify the actual guitar. Yes, words. We're gonna stick some batteries in it, and we're gonna try to interface with the reader. Ooh, I actually found it. So I hope that I can just like smack on an Arduino on it, and hopefully someone has documented how it works. And if we're lucky, I can just tell my Wemos or something like that to just act as a controller input, and bada bing bada boom, we're done. Maybe, perhaps. I hope. That's the ideal situation. So I'm gonna go get batteries, which are over there. Literally my sight, but I have to mute BRB. There we go, I got batteries. Let's open the battery cover that I closed. Damn it. Let's put them in. It's a very Spartan battery box. No separation walls almost. So, it's off right now. Oh! It's blinking, can you see that? You can see that, it's blinking. Perfect, I shall turn it off. That means it's at least somewhat alive. This is very good, yes. Just checking, sure. Empty as always. Just makes my life. Wow. So, let's see what we have here. We have a Kramer Kramer Striker wireless receiver, branded Red Octane, 3.3 volts at 20 milliamps. There's a FCC certification here. Or no, there's a FCC statement. I have no idea what the frick that means. And there's a FCC ID. Very nice. So, if I want detailed photos of the inside of that thing, I can just search up that. Because I don't want to open this thing because it looks sealed. Let's see here. How do I even search on these IDs? Help! Check the instruction in the user manual to find the FCC ID information. The FCC rules require that most devices be authorized before they can legally be imported or sold in the United States. These rules also require that labels with the information described by the FCC are affixed or accompany the device. However, not all devices approved for sale and operation by the FCC rules require an FCC ID number. And that's what jargon sounds like. Let's type in the first three and see what we get. Can my stomach like stop doing that, whatever the fuck it's doing? It's being weird. Oh god. Sorry. Red octane. Control F, please help me. There it is. Okay. Internal photos, that's the one. Yes! I can do research! I think, maybe, perhaps. That looks cruddy AF. And there's another RF module that looks suspiciously like the one in that guitar. But oh wait, I said in part 1 that that LED at the bottom was infrared. It's clearly not. And I said that this was a receiver window. It's clearly not. It's a button. I am stupid. Where did I ever get the idea that it was infrared from? Yeah, I'm stupid. I'll just say that. So, let's revise what I said in the last video. There is no infrared communication between these. It's infrared transceiver, because this looks exactly like the standoff board in the guitar. So it's probably just a bunch of transceivers that they bought, and they're sticking one in the receiver and one in the guitar. And they do pairing one way, and then they do stream data, I guess. Okay, that was literally everything when it comes to internal photos, but yeah, that was really nice to see, because now I know it's the exact same thing in there. Let's see. Let's go to Google and let's Let's just type what we see. So Kramer striker wireless controller, and then let's add guitar hero and then PS2 because it's a PlayStation 2 thing. Something in my eye. Or one of my eyelashes decided to turn against me. Yes, it was one of you. You little bastard. Calm down now. Order. Order in the light of brows. Or lashes, I don't even know. No? FCCID.io. This is a site I've never heard of actually. This is not gonna document. Like the protocol. Wait, it's a regular controller, isn't it? Isn't it just a regular PS2 controller? The blob in here emulates a regular controller, I think. Or does it? Guitar Hero Free Kramer controller. The PlayStation 2 version of Guitar Hero Free featured a guitar controller based on the Kramer striker guitar. Okay. So, PS2 controller protocol. Oh, so it's SPI. Let's just see if there's someone who has written Arduino code for this. There probably is. I love the internet. Okay. Vibration motor. 7 volts. But the thing... I guess it just leaves it open for this one. Ah. Command data. Command data, ground, power, clock. Of course. What the hell is attention? Dude, what the hell is attention? Oh, there. That is used to get the attention of the controller. This line must be pulled low before each group of bytes is sent, received, then set to high again afterwards. This is considered as ship select or slave select. (500 kilohertz). Okay, so I shall open up Arduino. First of all, maybe I should connect this up properly. No, I don't want to do that. Let's just keep an eye on that. Can I like... Oh yes, there is a pop-out thing. I forgot about that. It's been a while. I'm sorry. Sure. Oop. Ooh. Yeah, that's perfect. So here we have... Let's check if... Yeah, this looks like it's gonna work with just regular DuPont connectors. So let's connect power and ground, which I'm gonna do with a yellow and orange wire. Let's let yellow be ground. It's a nice fit, actually. Okay, it does go all the way. That's very long. Anyway, now I have 3 volts on orange, ground on yellow. So let's hook that up. Let's use these 2 bundles for the data and command, I guess. We don't need the vibration motor, I think. Did that going? No, that did not. enter properly, I think. Let's do one at a time. That went even further. Wow. I'm wondering if, like, I'm snapping the plastic inside or something. It doesn't feel like that at all. What pins of this thing are spy capable? ESP D1, wait, ESP A266, D1R2, spy. And I will dunk that into Google because Google is just better when it comes to searching for crap like this. Yeah, here we go. So we have a spy on 10 through 13, basically. What is SS? Master out, slave in, master in, slave out. SCK is clock, I guess. What is SS? What? Slave select. Oh. Yeah. Really. Ah! Ah! So from the controller to the ESP, we have from controller to, wait, shit. So from controller to the PlayStation, aka slave out, master in, or master in, slave out, MISO, which is E6. Excuse me. Is that really correct? There's two. No? This is a different version. Yeah, that's the R1. Oof. This is, yeah, that's, I guess that's correct. Don't know how what that is. But yeah, okay, so it's D6. Okay, and from the PlayStation to the controller, aka Master of Slay them. Let's just right next to it. D7. I never realized the ordering on this is weird AF. D0, D1, D2, D3, D4, D5, D6, D7, D8, D7, D6, D5. What? I have several questions. Which one of these was the LED again? Nah, whatever. Doesn't say. Okay, let's wire up the slave select. Where is? Where? Why do I need acknowledge? I don't need to read acknowledge, I think. I think I can get away with just 5 wires. Let's wire up the attention. That doesn't feel like it went correct. Oh, it does. I will wire attention to slave select. Perfecto. I think that's it. I think that's all we need. Let's hook these up. I don't think that is, yeah, that cable is blocked. I will grab a new cable, which I bought recently, and I will use that. Hey, it's blinking. That means it's on. I should probably nuke the program on here. So that it doesn't do anything. Because it's currently spamming the clock on D5, I believe. Yeah, this is blinking. And I believe to pair the receiver, like this has to be completely autonomous because its own interface is this controller wires. It acts as a controller, so it has to do everything internally. So that's why this will probably work, to pair it like this. So that's blinking. That's blinking. That stopped blinking. And that is now... What? What? Okay, I will hold down the reset thing on the receiver. That's now steady. Or not. Are they communicating? Excuse me. I have to search on the interwebs how to pair this, because I have forgotten. I have completely forgotten. Where's that? There's that. Empty. Google, tell me what. How. Ensure your guitar is synced to your PlayStation 2. Firmly plug your wireless receiver into the first controller port on your PS2 and turn on the console. Press the red fret button on your guitar to turn it on, and press and hold the button on the wireless receiver for a few seconds. Press the red button on the Guitar Hero to sync it. Press the lever on the back of your guitar and remove the neck from the guitar. Reconnect it securely. Yeah, I'm not gonna do these steps. I'm just gonna do the... What did it say? Red? Why red? Okay, let's do this again. This time I'll... Let me check. Let's do this together. How much of this can you see if I turn it on? Yeah, you can. Okay. So, we have this. I shall hold the button. It's now doing the slow blink, I think. I'm still holding it, just because. Okay, it doesn't seem to change, so... Wait. Did it say turn on while... Press the red fret button on me, then press it on. Okay, so basically turn on the guitar, hold the sync on the receiver, release, and then press what? Spam the red, I guess. Is it done? Ah! That probably deafened everyone. Jesus. Is it blinking anymore? I synced it, apparently. Oh. Okay, I don't know what it's doing there when the guitar blinks and then this is on for a while. I have no idea if that's this resetting or something because I haven't hooked up the spy or something yet. But regardless. Oh, maybe it's like resetting because it's not getting its buffer dumped or something like that. Lol. Let's turn this off. Battery powered after all. And let's. Ah, yes. There was. There. PS2 wireless controller communicates. What? Why wireless? Oh, it's making a wired wireless. Okay, okay, I get it. What was that signal? Oh yeah, the clock. Hey yo. The clock is probably nice to have. Yeah, he doesn't use the acknowledge, so yeah, let's add the clock by popular demand. Let's weird. Yeah, there. Probably. Okay. So PS2X Arduino library. And it's a zip. Oh no, why do you do this? Oh no, 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 Visual Studio. I swear, where are you? Visual Studio, please, please. No. Visual Studio, please don't lag down my PC. There, no, and what did I end? Okay, I ended it. I win. Whoa. Okay. Let's just install it. How do... no, wait, there it was. Dang it. I shall... Where was it? Add zip library. I shall look at... What was it? Oh! Venturing into downloads. This is dangerous. Yep. Yep. What was it called? Where is it? Is there? What? I know it downloaded. Was it because I opened it? Oh wait. Haha. There it is. What? Oh well. I tried. I'll do this and then... I can't... Okay. Fun. Can't open multiple files with Sublime. That's kind of... Okay, here we have that. Here's the header, which is what we're gonna read first. We have a bunch of shit. Well, yeah. The PS2 controllers had a configuration? What? Whack. This is very specialized for the Arduino because of the 500 kilohertz data rate. What if I hope in Google? Here's the GitHub for that thing. It was updated 5 months ago, so not too old. Thing is though that they I don't know if these is timing strict. That's the thing. Whoops. Does it compile? Probably not. Wait, what? Okay, let's see what don't you begin? That's the entirely wrong thing. Oh wow. Oof. I wonder what was on my Discord there, but I do not dare to recheck. Let's go back to that this thing has. And he had... Okay. These 2x arena. Yes, there. What? Oh. Oh. It's just being a gamepad, it's not reading the gamepad. I think. What is it? What? No, it's... Hmm. No. Well, since this has a thing here, I'll just test that. Sorry. Oh my god. It was as I expected. Alright. Yep. Ah. What's I doing now? What? I hope those functions are translated correctly. Yeah, this is a bit too low level, perhaps. Okay. What's he gonna complain about if I do that? Sorry for defining this code. Can someone kill that dog? Like, not literally, but like, shut it up at least. What the fuck? This is probably gonna break a bunch of crap that I have no idea about. Okay. Huh. Yeah, I should probably just raw. I am very happy. It has support for ESP. 8266. Compile, you fuck. Oh yes. Wait, what is it? Okay, let's just not do that. Okay, so can I like get the internal state of it? Just like buttons is apparently something. So let's just print that, I guess. Mouse is browse. Sorry. This is about to be nuked. I'm gonna keep this little thing. Nuke all of that. Pull down real minimum. So let's instead just do serial dot print line with ps2x dot buttons. I think we can use this. Buttons is private. Fuck you, it isn't. Wait. We flashing, boys. Interesting. 57,600. 57,600. Unknown controller type. Oh. Oh. We don't want pressure sensor. We don't want rumble. I don't think this supports that at all. And this is completely wrong. And I just realized I just probably deafened everyone. I'm severely sorry for anyone in the archive. Actually, I didn't mean to slap it like that. I'll lay it down like such. Yeah, so it's obviously the wrong pins. But shit. So, clock command. Attention data. Clock is D5. Command, which is what did I say? Command, I think. F. Yeah, command. Master out, slave in. That's D7. Attention, which is slave select. It's D8. And then there is data. Ah, data from the controller. Okay. That's my cell, which is D6. Unknown controller type. It's because it's not on. It is on. It instantly connects at least. This feels loose. It's because I'm missing that screw. No, it's not near there because the missing screw is there. Maybe it's just old. Unknown controller type. The clock is hooked up to D5. Let's just throw in a few new lines. My data is the gray one, which goes to whoop. The gray one goes to master image layout, which is correct. Ah, I need a resistor. I need resistor. So we need 1 to 10k. Luckily for me, I have a bunch of resistors right here. 1 to 10k. That's a nice range. About 5.6k. Sure, that will be fine. And pull up to 3.3, which is all the way over fucking there. Really? No. I'm gonna hook it into the controller itself. I will connect power, because shit will go bad. There was a blob of solder underneath my ESP. I'm scared now. Scared that on screen. I think this will actually work. Okay, it's showing numbers. Let me grab another 5.6k. Let's just spin those together. It works. Yeah. Can't get that any better without soldering. Which I don't really want to do. Oh, I'm gonna have to solder. Damn it. Wait. Maybe. Well, that works. Configured successful. Controller type 1. Guitar Hero controller found. Is this because fuck it, I'll solder that pull up in. Why not? Given how it keeps shifting. Or is it just because I'm reading private stuff that shouldn't be read? Okay, so you can get access. I think. Returns the inverse of buttons. Okay. think this will print it in base 2. I'm very uncertain. Green, red, yellow, blue, orange, up, down, down. I probably don't have enough pull-up. Let me solder in the current one live as it's transmitting data through it. What could possibly go wrong? Here goes. Okay. It's still alive. Wow. Not for much longer. You're still bitching. Or is this... There's no delay. Hmm. I have questions. 2K should be enough. I killed it. I killed it. Why? Why? Let's I should just grab this. Of course it does that. There we go. Should be okay. Yeah, I cannot do this. Yeah, that seems a bit more better. Maybe because of that read doing something. I wanna see if I can get it responsive to under a frame. Hopefully less. Interesting. Very interesting. It recognized the star power thing. Where? Tilt up. Okay, so I can basically check if I'm over polling it by holding keys, and if it re-triggers, I know I'm over polling. So we're good at 20 milliseconds. Let's see if we are good at 10 milliseconds. Okay. 10 milliseconds is possible. 5 doesn't seem to, so let's push it to 7. Like it matters. Yeah, maybe I should look at the... Also, I should look here. Yeah, empty. Well, control the front. Seven is too much. Is 9 too much? Nine is not too much. What about 8? Nope. Oh well, I'll stick to 10. So it should show start to being start and select. Fun. Now, I want to see if it's possible for the... Oh wait, is there something sent when... Oh wait. It recognized the whammy bar and then it didn't? Uh-oh. We are resetting at 10. Bring it up to 20. Ugh. Sorry for all the yawning. Probably has instructions that hold the orange for whammy. Yeah, print stick value if true. If the orange thread is held, print to the whammy bar. Okay, so that's working as intended. Whoa, 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 whoa. How about that? This is our... If you think about it, this is kind of cool. This is a remote analog to digital thing. I mean, it's not that high resolution. But it's good enough to, well, at least pitch bend some music. Two. One. Maybe less than one, I have no idea. I'm too fast. Oh. 15 milliseconds? It's okay, it's acting a bit weird, I think. It's know, it feels like it misses a lot of the ups. Okay. Okay. Yeah, let's not leave that iron. Just plug in like that, and let's unplug that. And yeah, that receiver starts to blink, just like I remember. Let's see if we can include keyboard. Please. C and lore, of course. Of course. C and lore, of course. Of course. I should have expected you of all people. But then I have to hook it up like that. Wow. I mean, maybe I should just get a duo and do. It's kind of funny though. Like here, I have an ESP running at 100 and something megahertz. It's running at 80 megahertz, and it has Wi-Fi and 4 megabytes of flash and a bunch of other things. But it cannot be a HID device natively. But the older Arduino Duo can. I think that's like only 36 megahertz. Oh no, wait. 72 megahertz? I do not remember. Anyway. Well, while this works, whoa. It's a bit slow, Oh yeah, the star power thing. There you go. Now your screen is full of star power. And now it's full of down. And now it's full of up. Down, up, down, up. Start. Select. And power. Star power. This is hard with one hand. Yeah, this has seen better days. That's all I say. When I played it, I used to play like this. Like having the whammy bar always. I don't know. But I don't remember it being this sad. There's a metaphor in that somewhere. Anyway. Power off. I shall take a quick break and I will dig out my Novag or whatever the F it's called, and then we'll use that and then we'll see. Oh yes, I forgot to tell you. Or wait, maybe I did tell. But the ECG boards I ordered have arrived. But they're useless. They don't work. Which is more than a bummer. It cost me a pretty penny. And they are essentially trash. Even though it should work, but it doesn't. So that's encouraging. Yes, I will be right back. Oh, I just realized. Y'all have only looked at the camera. But yes, you haven't much. It's just a stream of crap. Just what's being held, what got pressed, the lime bar. Basically, everything works, even if you didn't see most of it. Oh yeah, there you go. Blue, green, red, yellow, red, green, red, yellow, blue, yellow. And a bunch of things. Well, that's gonna be an oof. I always forget to switch the camera. Oh well. Doesn't matter till next time, I guess. Anyway, enough babbling. Goodbye.